to it then, episode number 41 of Off the Leash, brought to you by the Racing Post in association with Premier Greyhound Racing. We're an open class company once again, Derby class company. Tony Bullen of the Racing Post joins us. Tony, back of the net, proper heiress, best bet of the week, 10 to 11. I bet you didn't think he was going to return 4 to 9 though.
No, I mean, I said anything around the even money 10 to 11 mark would look big. Did it in style and threw down a serious marker. The cream rose to the top in the majority of the races, which we expected the way they were stacked up, but all to play for in the first two to qualify semis, Dave.
All to play for indeed. Of course, you're here joining us either on the Racing Post YouTube channel. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe, or on the RP Greyhounds Facebook page, and make sure you drop a like there and give us a comment as well. Thanks for your feedback, and plenty of people following Tony. Mystic Tony, Tony's the man. The superlatives have been rolling in. Interestingly, we did have a comment asking for a guest or two. I'm assuming that's nothing personal against myself or Tony, but that's something that we're going to look into. Maybe we'll bring in an owner or a trainer, someone involved in these plethora of big races, because it's never ending. So we'll wait for maybe a final, and we'll have a special guest come on, give us a little bit of insight into maybe their runners in the final. As Tony mentioned, we're going to head down to Neville Road, down on the south coast. We're off to Hove. We're going to look back before we look forward. We've got the first round heats of the George Curtis Ballyregan Bob Memorial over 740 metres and the Coral Olympic. We've picked out two of each. I think the fastest near enough, or the most impressive of each competition. Then we'll plough through the semi-finals. This is your place for winners. Tony's shown you that in recent weeks. I've done a little bit as well, so no doubt we can steer you onto a winner or two. Right, let's start with the stayers then. We're going to go over 740 metres, and we're going to start with heat number 1, which featured that anti-post favourite, Garfinny Blaze. He'd been off the track, but he's back, and he's back with a bang. He was the fastest heat winner in the opening round. He went from trap 3 off the front, 44.49. All Right Goldie in trap 5, Milridge Tannick in trap 6, 3.56. No dangers here throughout. This is very impressive, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it was a little bit of a concern. First competitive start since June, but this just underlines how much class this dog's got. I mean, you could have forgiven him for getting beaten over 740 metres on his reappearance, but he soon took control of the race and he sustained a strong enough gallop. You've got to take into account the runner-up, All Right Goldie, is a strong running salt proven over a marathon distance, but I think Connections will be delighted, and obviously going forward, we'll see how he fares in the semi-finals, because if a dog that's had issues, it's normally the second run back that's the most telling, Dave.
Well, I did put that to 14 times champion trainer Mark Wallace, and I'm not speaking out of school here. Mark was bullish, and he said, that's not something I think happens at my kennel. And some of the numbers he gave me were perhaps, this dog was 70% for the first round. We might be looking at 80, 85% in the semi-finals, and who knows, maybe 100% for the final. He was the dog to beat. It was the anti-post favourite. It was 9-4. That is a distant memory, that sort of price. But I think they're just glad to have him back, Tony. Mark said to me that it was a bit of a heartbreaker, because you were looking at the Regency, you're looking at the St. Ledger, and this dog, anywhere near his best, would have been bang there.
Yeah, whatever competition he contests, he'll be one of the anti-post leaders, if not clear anti-post market leader. As we touched on, he was probably a big price if you had the confidence in the layoff. He would have been an even money shot heading into this event had he had a run or two under his belt. But as I say, Connections have got to be pleased with that run.
Yeah, I'm sure they will be. And he's unbeaten over 6 bends. I think he's third in the TV trophy. Obviously, that was over 8 bends, but unbeaten over 6 bends. Remember that. This dog was yet to taste defeat over 6 bends. Right, we're now going to jump over to Heat 5 of the George Curtis Ballyregan Bob Memorial. And a bitch in form here, Droopy's Flotilla, recently smashed the clock over 6 bends at Nottingham, and she did the business here. Our Smasher in 2, Bright Jewel in 6. 1, 2, 6. She's trappy. She starts. She stays. She loves the inside, and she's in great form, Tony.
Yeah, we said last week, this is the equivalent of her having a solo trial. I know she was in a race, but she was never going to get held up on the inside. She's quickly taken a stranglehold of the race. I mean, Our Smasher's done her customary late work, but this Droopy's Flotilla reached the semi-finals of this event last year without really getting competitive, but she's come a long way since then, Nathan Hunt's bitch. she's returned in tremendous form following seasonal rest. She broke the track record at Nottingham, strutted her stuff at Monmore, and showed her liking for the 740 metres at Hove. Again, she's just relentless. She's like the Duracell bunny, Dave, at the minute.
Yeah, she's in great form as well. Great. As soon as she come back from seasonal rest, she's been flying. And who knows, maybe that will continue. And we're going to find out now. We are now going to look at the semi-finals, 3 of them. And they're early doors on the card on Saturday night. First one, 6:59. So make sure you tune into the action early doors on the Premier Greyhound Racing Service. Race 4 then is semi-final number 1, 740 metres. Shout out to Ladbrokes and Corals once again. Very quick out the traps, pricing up the semi-final. So giving us time to have a little mull over it. And we're now going to have a look at the lineup. And this one features Move Over Oggy, the dog that Tony put up anti-post last week. Second favourite to Garfinny Blaze. Goes in trap 5. We've got Lossie's Ace at 50 in 1. Hopey 9-2 in 2. Breton Molly 7-2 was a heat winner. Minstrel 6, another heat winner. Jason Heath in 4 at 12-1. Move Over Oggy evens. Beach Babe, another heat winner, 7-2. Of the 3 semi-finals, this is arguably the best of them just because it's full of heat winners. Tiny, but a nice draw again for Move Over Oggy.
Yeah, again, he's improved his strike rate in recent weeks. He's reeled off a hat-trick over this 740 metres at Hove. And what I like about him, he's showing a little bit more urgency. He's putting himself in good positions by the third bend, his Move Over Oggy. Prior to that, early in his career, he was just getting detached and couldn't necessarily give some of the classy types a start and a beating, but he's really thriving on his racing at the moment. Hopey. Can't put my finger on her at Hove. She's not really fired at Hove at present and has been beaten 3 times on the spin by Move Over Oggy. But Brett and Molly's a nice bitch, and Beach Babe, I mean, she reached the TV Trophy Cesarewitch final when first arriving on the scene. So good little heat, this one.
Will the favourite be doing the business though? Even money. What are your thoughts?
I'm with Move Over Oggy, but I wouldn't be steaming in at evens, to be truthful. I think this is a little bit more of a tougher race. I mean, Brett and Molly, she's no back number. She's as game as they come. And Beach Babe could have the freedom of the wide. So yeah, as much as I'm with 5, even money to win the race wouldn't necessarily be appealing.
Yeah, I mean, where I'm at is I think this is a great draw for 5, but I think 6 is half a runner as well. I'm going to be with 5, Move Over Oggy, but I certainly wouldn't put anyone off maybe reversing up 5 and 6 around the outside on the outside of 4 railers. Right, we'll move on then to semi-final number 2, the 7:16, race 5 on the card. And here we see Garfinny Blaze at 4-9 down the middle. Coffee Time Guys 5-2 in red. Infield Charms 16. Garfinny Blaze 4-9. Barbie Bullet a middle at 33. All right, Patricia 14. Bright Jaw at 10. Not a lot of speed on here. 4-9 looks, dare I say, a little bit generous here. I think this dog, if he's anywhere near his best, he'll have to turn in the boxes to get beat.
Yeah, I agree. Again, there's nothing that can go toe-to-toe with him early, Dave. I think he can miss the brake pace up and lead by the turn, by out the second bend, and I think this should be a comfortable success, smooth path to the final for Garfinny Blaze. And yeah, he's got plenty in hand on the clock. The splits everywhere around the track. He's the fastest in the race, so I can't see how you can oppose 3.
No, he does look a good thing. Obviously, I'll put Coffee Time Guys up and All Right Patricia anti-post. It's always the way. They ended up in the same semi-final and only 2 can go through it. So hopefully one of those can chase home Garfinny Blaze. Right, we'll move on to the 3rd semi-final. 2 confident votes for the Jolly, but didn't take much finding at 4-9. I'm not sure the favourite's going to take much finding here either. 7:33, semi-final number 3. Droopy's Flotilla in red hot form, 13-8 in the red. Our Smasher in 2 at 5-1. Tuano Bella 3s. Broncos Bullet 33s. Milridge Tannic 14. All Right Goldie at 2-1. I think the top will trap out, pace up, hold 3 to the turn and make call. And maybe All Right Goldie will chase her own because I thought he ran quite well, as you mentioned, Tony, behind Garfinny Blaze. Worthy favourite. She's got to do it right at the boxes, though, because there's a little bit of speed down the middle.
Yeah, a draw inside Tuono Bella's crucial here. I think that sways things in the favour of Droopy's Flotilla. And then I think if one beats 3 to the punch, you probably are looking where All Right Goldie turns. Now, if he does hold his position out wide, All Right Goldie, it will certainly be race on because he's a dog that doesn't down tools at any stage.
No, indeed. Looking forward to those three semi-finals. Three semi-finals of the £10,000 Coral Olympic as well on Saturday night. We're going to look back before we look forward in this event now, and we're going to go straight to the first heat. So we had Garfinny Blaze put down a marker, went fastest of the stayers, and Mark Wallace's proper heiress. It was Tony's nap last week, and this is a joy to watch here, a ground in full flight. Now, he's a very tight railer. He was 10 to 11 into 4 to 9, and he set the standard in the first round of the Olympic. 29.64. Kevin's Rocket in 2, Ginger's Rubin in 3, followed him home, but a long way out. The writing was on the wall here, Tony.
Yeah, nice salt this, only lightly raced, proper heiress, and shaped really well in the in the Eclipse at Nottingham, and headed into this Olympic off the back of a good trial, and has found time on that trial. I mean, you break the 30-second barrier for the 5:15 metres at Hove, you're going some. It's not commonplace nowadays. It used to be loads of dogs used to break the 30-second barrier for fun, but it's not too common now. And when you do, you know you've run well. And proper heiress used the inside draw, trapped lovely, was never in danger. If anything, pulled further and further clear. Very good run.
Yeah, to quote his trainer, Mark Wallace, devastating middle pace, and you'd agree with that. Absolutely sensational out the second bend into the third corner. Put that contest to bed. Right, let's jump to Heat 3, 29.73 on the board here. Now, this I thought was the race of the night. We had Iams of Sydney, Missile 1. I think Droopy's Display was in there, unfortunately crashed out. It was Iams of Sydney who came through, the recent gold collar champion. 29.73 in trap 2. Gary the Arb in 3. Missile 1 in trap 1 is one of the top locals. Needed to do it right in the boxes, Iams of Sydney. It was that kind of race, but he popped out nicely.
Yeah, what a credit to Connections he is. So versatile. 4 bends, easy 6 bends. He's competed at the highest level throughout his career, and he's just popped out. And he's not going to get pegged back. He broke the track record at Crayford when winning that gold collar, and he just sustained a relentless gallop. The time tells you how good a run it was, Dave. 29.73. The problem is, can he continue to produce that at the start?
Well, we've shown you 2 impressive heat winners. They are 2 railers, and now we're going to show you the semi-final draws, which makes things quite interesting. And we'll start with semi-final number 1, which is the 7.49. Droopy's Pivotal in trap 1 at 5 to 2. Barntick Bear 6 to 5. Starshine Sun at 18s. New in Sid, last year's Eclipse champion, 11 to 4. Rapido Alley 8. New Import at 20 to 1. Now, Barntick Bear was contesting anti-post favouritism. He's still there or thereabouts as well for outright honours. I'm sure Connections would be quite happy to have avoided the likes of Iams of Sydney and, of course, Proper Heiress, and looks to have a big chance here. 6 to 5, a worthy favourite.
Yeah, he left a lot on the track there last weekend. I mean, he nearly performed a miracle to actually win the race. He got held up everywhere he went. The problem is, and we said it last week, he's really devoid early. He's not taking part on the run to the turn. I mean, 4.57 sectional in a trial, and he's done the same split in the race, Dave. So he got Crowd City last weekend, nearly pulled off the miracle with his strength in the latter stages. I think he books his place in the final here. I think the draws worked out well on both counts.
You love that one. Crowd City. There you go. I mean, he's a dog with a massive engine, Barntick Bear. He's just one of them grounds that whenever he's running, you will always tune in to watch him, because if he gets a clear run, you know he's going to be a monster coming home. He's 6 to 5. He's going to get 2 very confident votes from us for that opening semi-final. Right, let's jump to semi-final number 2 then, which is race 8 on the card, the 8.07. Gary the Arb 9 to 2. No Better Feeling 14s. Ginger's Rubin 33s. Then it gets interesting. Proper Heiress 4 to 7 in trap 4. Droopy's Extra Good 9 to 2. And Tiga Falky, who's the only seeded dog wide, out in trap 6 at 7 to 1. Now, Proper Heiress in trap 1 in this race, I think it's more like a 2 to 7 poke. We're looking at 4 to 7. Can he get across, Tony?
Yeah, I think he does. I think he gets a bit of luck around the first 2 bends. If he turns no worse than second or in front even out the back straight, then I think you'll see a reproduction of what he did last weekend. This is a proper dog, Proper Heiress, and good dogs have to overcome tricky draws on occasions, and I think this fella can do that.
Yeah, I mean, if he goes round in second to any of these, when they straighten up, I think you'd be in front by the third turn. I just struggle. He's got to do it right at the boxes. Obviously, I put him up anti-post, so I'm hoping he does the business and qualifies. But I'm just looking at Gary the Arb at 9-2 on the inside. Now, Proper Eris is that sort of dog that he might smash out and just dive across and get across and job done. But if he doesn't smash out, he's not one of them that's going to look after himself, go straight and try and find a way. He will just dive straight inside. So I'll take him on begrudgingly with Gary the Arb, and it's kind of just shut your eyes as the traps open here. Maybe he'll get a run, maybe he won't. But at 9-2, Gary the Arb, we know he starts and stays. He's got winning form over 6 bends. He's won over the 6:30 at Monmore, one over the 5.75 at Romford. If he can just hold his pitch on the inside and maybe sneak round in first or second, 9-2 might look big. So I'm trying to find a little bit of juice against Proper Eris, but he's without a doubt the one to beat there. Can he get across from trap 4? That'll be fascinating. We'll move through to semi-final number 3, and the same applies here. Look at the trap draw here. I Am's a Sydney, who's in red-hot form, chasing a 5th straight win. He recently broke the track record at Crayford. He recently won the gold collar. He was impressive in the first round. Now he's donning the orange vest here, Tony. Missile 1, Kevin's Rocket, Gunslinger, Antigua Kestrel, Am's a Sydney, Burrows Sapphire. I'll ask you the same question again. Can he get across?
Yeah, when I first looked at it, I thought, you're banging trouble here. But I just think the way the dog's running, I mean, he's overcome tricky draws in the past. I just think you've got to stick with him, Dave. He's not a dog that necessarily has to lead from the front. If he can turn in a handy position, you know he's got the stamina at his disposal. But you've got a few dogs here. I mean, Antigua Kestrel, he sort of found himself in front at an early stage. He's not a dog renowned for pinging the lids. Burrows Sapphire in 6 is not a dog that's got early pace. Gunslinger's been a little bit hit and miss at the start. So all of a sudden, he could cheat this draw, Irons of Sydney, and I'm going to be with him still.
13-8, Irons of Sydney. Much of, same as above, the last race. I'm a big fan of Missile 1. He's only had 14 races. He's a dog that I think he's not straightforward out the boxes, but if he ever finds himself in front, he is a real handful. And he's 7-2, same again. He's going to have to maybe trap smartly to hold 2 early doors. But can Irons of Sydney get across? It will make for fascinating viewing on Saturday night down at Hove. Make sure you do tune in live on the PGR service, which is, of course, behind the red button on Sky Sports Racing, or on the stream, which you can find it. Even if you just Google Premier Greyhound Racing, you will find the action. Right, it is that time. Best bets of the week. Back in the net last week with Proper Eris. Tony, where are we off to?
Yeah, I'm going to be with Barntick Bear in that first semi-final of the Olympic, Dave. I thought he left a lot on that track there last weekend. Ran an absolute blinder in defeat. I think he gets a run, gets a nice toe into the race this time. I think it'll be more spread out, the field. It won't be as compact down the far side. And he'll loom large. He'll really move into overdrive down the back straight. Loom large at the third bend. And he'll power home for Patrick Janssens and book his place in the final.
Yeah, very much looking forward to that. It's the 7:49 at Hove on Saturday night. All eyes on the blue jacket. Will he get a run? If he does, he'll come through to score. Tony thinks he will. I'm going to go to Romford for my best bet of the week. 6:37, the opener on Friday night. If he's not broke, don't fix it. Although she's got a tricky-looking draw, not banned Daisy out wide in trap 6. She's been in great form for Dave Mullins. And sometimes, when they're drawn a little bit wider than ideal, they might see the hare or hear the hare coming a little bit quicker. I think she might flash out from 6 in the opener at Romford. She's in great form. She's got massive early. And I'll take a chance on her to make all the running there. So Tony with Barntick Bear 7:49 at Hove on Saturday night. I'm going in the opener at Romford on Friday night. Trap 6 in the 6:37. Right, that wraps up yet another show. Tony, as ever, we thank you for your time and expertise, banging in winners left, right and centre. Do remember to drop us a comment. Who would you like to see join myself and Tony on the show? We'll try and squeeze a guest in before the end of the year. Do remember to enjoy the racing, gamble responsibly, and we'll see you next time.